Welcome everybody to the channel. My name is Aubrey, and today we're going to talk about the steps to wealth. So the 3 steps to wealth, actually 4, but we'll get to that last one and you'll see how it's kind of a step, but not really. So a lot of videos online, a lot of information online about how to develop wealth, how to get wealthy, some quick, some not so quick. My school of thought is there are definitely ways to get to wealth quickly. And while you're trying to work on those, whatever those may be, a lot of them have to do with starting a business. A lot of them have to do with going into real estate. A lot of them have to do with going into doing side hustles. Those things will drive you toward wealth more quickly, and particularly for a business. If you can start your own business and manage this business and grow this business, you can get to great amounts of wealth in a short amount of time. And I mean, a short amount of time is like 2 years, a couple of years, because it takes time to build. Some people are overnight successes. There's an interview on YouTube with Matthew McConaughey, and he kind of talks about his rise to stardom, and he had a bunch of earlier roles, and they kind of started building up, but he did have sort of an overnight success, and that launched him into stardom and wealth and so on. But most of the time it's not going to happen that way, and it certainly has not happened that way for me. So I just want to give 3 steps to getting to wealth. There are other examples of those who have launched into wealth. You look at people like Warren Buffett, okay? One of the richest men in America. Warren Buffett derived a lot of his wealth from the stock market, stock picking, although he doesn't recommend it for the average investor like yourself and myself. But this kind of focus that he has had through his entire life on one thing, and focus really he had a passion, really. I mean, it was his focus, but at the same time it was his passion. That's how he did it. The same thing with Sam Walton, who started Walmart, and how he got going basically right out of school, how he built from like one store. Walmart didn't even exist yet. He had some failures along the way. He had some rough times along the way, but he kept at it. His passion was discounting, getting a store, getting the best possible price on the products. And actually really his passion was discounting, but his passion, even above and beyond that, was being able to provide value, great value, to families, to people who shopped at his stores. And eventually he built them into the brand, into the store chain Walmart. And everybody's heard of Walmart today. It's a tremendous competitor, even against Amazon. And to fend off Amazon is quite a task, which Walmart has done amazingly. Anyway, so these men, like Warren Buffett, Sam Walton, they built themselves over many years in one passion, and they went on to be multi-billionaires. We're talking about building wealth. There's no reason, don't think in your mind you can't do that. But when I talk about wealth, we talk about wealth here, let's start off a little more smaller scale, a little more possibly realistic. And you can certainly pursue those dreams, but while you're pursuing those dreams, you want to have another framework in place that will just sort of be working in the background for you. And then if these dreams, if these aspirations don't work out, you still have this framework for building wealth kind of running in the background, okay? And this framework for building wealth, these 3 steps, are behavioral. It basically comes down to the way you behave. And the nice thing about a behavior is it just comes to you naturally. You just do it. You don't have to be thinking about it and striving for it. It's sort of self-running. It's sort of autonomous. And you want to automate as much as you can in your life. What are these 3 things? All right. So step number 1, commit. You have to commit to these wealth steps and this idea that you want to be wealthy. And what does this mean? It means you have to decide, I want this. I want this. This is meaningful to me. I want this. Because with that commitment, That is powerful. And commitment is not something that you feel, because feelings are going to come and go. I heard something recently, completely agree with, and it is that discipline trumps motivation. Discipline trumps motivation, because you can't always be motivated. But you can always be disciplined in the sense that you can say, I don't feel motivation right now, because motivation is a feeling. It's something that's inside. It's a feeling, and feelings come and go. Feelings can be affected by the outside world and things that happen to you. Things that happen to me, and then I don't want to do something that I am trying to be motivated to do, like working out. But if you're disciplined, the discipline steps in and you do it anyway. That's discipline. Discipline doesn't care if you're motivated, if you feel good about it, if you want to do it, if it's convenient. Discipline says, it's this time, you're going to do it. And it's along the same lines with commitment. If you're committed, then when the time comes, you do it. That doesn't mean you're always going to be motivated. If you're motivated, it will be a lot easier. And I encourage you to draw motivation, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But I encourage you to draw motivation from whatever sources you may have, whatever sources may be available to you, whether it's videos, whether it's a movie, whether it's books, whether it's persons that you observe in their online profiles, anything on social media. Those personalities, if they motivate you, fine. I mean, draw that motivation from them. Use them for that. Step number 1, commit. Be committed to building this wealth. So step number 2, reduce consumption. If you want to build wealth, any time that you are expending your wealth on other things, that leaves less wealth for you to use to build. So consumption can be really several areas for consumption. The most obvious of which is your money. You have a salary. Most of us working 9-to-5 jobs have a salary. If you don't have a salary, you're on commission. Regardless, you have a set amount of money that is coming in. It is a limited resource. Yes, you can go out and you can go to your boss and you can do your job really well. You can get a promotion. You can change jobs into a different job, get a higher salary. You can do all those things. But those things take time, and there's no guarantee with those. However, if you choose to reduce your consumption, you are guaranteed to retain more of your wealth, of your money. It's not always an easy decision to make. And how much do you reduce consumption by? And how quickly? And I mean, how much then can I spend? All these questions need to think about, and there's no one right answer. In fact, everyone is probably going to have a different answer. So think about it. But while you're thinking, reduce consumption. These steps are for action. You can learn this information, but you need to apply it. And we'll get back to that soon. Okay, so reduce consumption. You have limited resources coming in. You need to protect those resources. So, reducing consumption, the most obvious of which is your money. But there's also reduced consumption of things that consume your time. First, there's the easy things to get rid of, like watching TV and social media and sporting events. I'll say socializing to a degree. Now, almost anyone can argue to cut TV completely out, and you would probably be far ahead of the game. And possibly the same thing with social media. But of course, socializing, you can't cut that out. It's a bad idea. So again, personal choice. How much socializing do you need? For myself, I'm actually pretty introverted, and I mean, there are days that go by, and aside from work, I don't talk to anybody. I don't really text my friends. I certainly don't call them in any given day. In any given week, sure, phone calls with friends, texting and messaging, and a couple of times a month, I'll go hang out with a friend here or a friend there. That's fine. That's me. I don't require a lot of time. I don't necessarily seek out a lot of time with my friends. Some people really enjoy that time. They want that time. They need that time. And that's fine. That's a personal decision for them. For me, I feel like I need a lot of like TV time, movie time in particular. So for me, that's something I need to keep an eye on to reduce, maybe not to zero, because I think I would have a pretty rough time and might fall apart if I were not able to watch any movies. But again, this is important just to realize these things are consuming your time. You want to be able to reduce those as well. And this frees up time so you have more free time available to do step 3, which is invest. Step 3 is invest. You can now invest the money that you have freed up. And where do you invest it? Again, personal choice. This can be things from real estate. You can buy rental properties, commercial buildings. You can invest in the stock market, in index funds, very simple. Cryptocurrency, of course, Bitcoin and Ethereum and Litecoin and all these different ones, crypto-y currency stuff. But ideally, you want to make this investment of your money into something that you understand and that you enjoy. And I mean, I feel like, as far as in my case, with the stock market, I enjoy that. I read a lot of articles about it, and I like catching up about different exchange-traded funds, ETFs. I like catching up about different index funds, investing strategies, and diversifying portfolio. So for me, that's enjoyable. And so that's the route that I chose for investing my money. Okay, and then secondly, investing. So invest your money. Where do you invest your free time? You have this more free time now. Where is that invested? And that is invested in yourself by using that time for learning. You can take classes. You can watch YouTube videos. There are tremendous, tremendous, tremendous resources available on YouTube for free. You just have to watch the ads. And these resources, you can learn virtually whatever you want. Someone has a course, and if you really like that material and that material speaks to you, I'm sure they're offering a master class you can buy. And if you want to purchase courses, if you like that more regimented and more structured approach, you can purchase courses online, books, reading. And I mean, reading fiction, just the act of reading is healthy for you, especially in this day and age with so much TV and social media, and we're just scrolling and but reading and making these pictures in your mind and the imagination that it creates studies have shown has a plethora of good effects on the mind. You do want to read nonfiction to a degree at least in areas that interest you, that you want to learn more about. For me, stocks, stock market, but for you, maybe real estate investing, maybe cryptocurrency, maybe how to trade commodities. I don't know, whatever it might be, options trading. These are all areas that can be very useful to know about and are a way that you can take this free time that you have and invest it back into yourself. Also, books like autobiographies, and read about people that have built empires and how did they do it? What was their life like? What were their patterns like? What behaviors did they build? Those are all areas that you can draw from and take what works for you and incorporate it into your own life. But the number one most important thing about all these things that you learn while you're investing in yourself, and you're picking through and you say, ooh, that's a good idea. Oh, I like the way that sounds. I bet I could do that. The number one most important thing, apply. Apply it to your life. Put it into action. That's what it's all about, is changing behavior. And once it becomes a habit, and once it becomes part of you and who you are, it'll just happen automatically. And then you can go to the next step. And finally, investing time. Invest time in family, invest time in friends. That promotes a bright future for them and for you. And there have been many studies now that have shown the advantages of spending time with family and how it promotes your own health, your own mental health, well-being. And lastly, the fourth step, that's maybe not really a step, is simply repeat. Commit, reduce consumption, invest, and then repeat it. And by repeating it, I mean, think again. why I'm doing this. I'm committing. This is a commitment. It's not about being motivated. It's not about the way I feel. It's not about, hey, I'm excited today, I'm going to do it. You're committed. Reduce consumption. And this is things that consume your money, things that consume your time. And I do want to spend a minute on this Starbucks myth, some people have called it, and it doesn't matter if you're spending $5 on Starbucks every day, you get one of those lattes every day, $5, not going to matter if you give that up. I would disagree with that. I disagree with that. And I will tell you why. Not so much the $5, although that does add up. If you do that 200 days out of the year, which is about the number of days you work, 200 days out of the year, $5 a day, that's $1,000 for a year. Over the course of 10 years, that turns into $10,000. In 10 years, it's going to go by like that. That $10,000, you could put that into, in my case, I love the stock market, index funds, put that into index funds, that could turn into $20,000. Even from a financial point of view, I believe skipping the Starbucks will make a difference. But here's an even bigger way it makes a difference to skip it. Because in your mind, you are telling yourself, hey, I made a commitment. I'm reducing consumption. So every time you are driving to work and you see that Starbucks and you say, I always have stopped in there, but you keep driving right past it. You did it. That is a victory. You have reduced consumption. That needs to be celebrated. You should be proud of that. That is a choice. And that's the way the commitment works. It's not something you decide one time. You wake up one day and you say, I'm committed, I'm going to reduce consumption and invest. And you decide one time, it's not the way it works. You decide over and over and over. And every time you just keep driving right past it. You just made that commitment. You just recommitted. And you do that enough times, about 17 times, I think is what studies have said, and it becomes a habit. And it becomes part of your behavior. And now you drive by, you don't even think about it. You never go in there. It's a special occasion if you go in there. And that's fine. Special occasion, it's fine. But the habit now is you don't go in there. And now you have this $1,000 a year, and you can invest it. And you're living this commitment. So you've built up this habit that you no longer stop for the Starbucks coffee. And it has this like reinforcing behavior to it, where it now becomes easier in other areas of your life to avoid other, maybe more frequent or more expensive choices, like upgrading to a newer car, or upgrading the size of your house, or buying more stuff so that you need a storage unit to put it all in. So if you start small, a Starbucks coffee every day, and you reduce that down, you start to reduce other things in your life as well. You can go on to the next thing that you see consuming too much of. So those are the 3, maybe 4 steps to wealth. Commit, reduce consumption, invest, repeat. This gives you a framework. This can be going on in the background while you are going to try to start a business, or while you are trying whatever scheme it is to increase your wealth beyond just this cycle going on in the background. But even if all of those other things don't work out, you are still investing. So you are learning more things, and you are getting better, and you're getting stronger, and you're getting faster, and you're building wealth. The years go by, and you'll notice your wealth increasing, increasing, increasing. In the end, say those other things don't work out, it won't matter, because you will have built up this wealth regardless. If this content was helpful for you, I invite you, subscribe, leave a comment down below, hit the like button, and we'll see you on the next video.